How is it going, everybody? DJ K-Dub Omaha with Wired Axcess, all access granted, where we are brought to you with our StreamYard by none other than your Omaha Beef Football here in Omaha, where they are preparing for their 2026 season. We greatly appreciate their support as they bring StreamYard so we could do these interviews, whether you're in person, where I like to go for all access granted. And that's the difference about this series is it's a little more laid back. It's wherever the athlete feels comfortable, wherever we can make time. And thank you for StreamYard and the Omaha Beef. We're able to do it here. And then also remember that you can find this podcast along with others, this series of our podcasts on Character Chronicles. We join them as of Friday. You can check their front page. You might see something there from Wired Axcess, all access granted. Or if not, jump up on the top there at podcasts and you can go from there. Tonight we are welcoming Skutt Catholic and North Carolina committed Addison West. Addison, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Practice, right?
Yes, we just got off of practice.
Oh, well, those who have followed Wired Axcess and see everything that we do, one of our number one supporters, especially when it comes to the volleyball scene, is Coach Saunders. So I greatly appreciate her. But of course, you know, when it comes to the sport of volleyball, if you don't know, it is just hitting strides every day, more and more and more. And that's what we're going to get into with Addison West. And those who follow, I also like to let you know, when it comes to high school athletes, I like to get to talk to them normally when they're out of season, like not when it's games, because I don't want to talk about games or what you're, looking to do, but also that you're committed somewhere, because the process to get to that status is something that I could never imagine because I didn't do it. But what I like to do is share, and hopefully one family, one person finds it and sees that they might be struggling with something, and you give them just a little bit more to get over that hump. But Addison, congratulations on your commitment to North Carolina. But the journey to get there, I think, is something, that is amazing, and especially with all the consistent growth here in the local area for volleyball. When do you like if you think of these past 3 years, and of course this fourth one's going to go, when do you start thinking about what you're going to do at the next level, and how, because you also do track, how do you sum down that volleyball is the one for you?
I think it was definitely when I was younger. I was always passing against my basketball hoop, and I played basketball. I played a lot of different sports growing up. And then I think it was maybe seventh grade probably. I would get a little upset when I had to miss volleyball practice for another sport. And so then I think that was the point in my life where I was like, this is really what I love to do, and I'm going to do this. And then when I got to high school, volleyball and basketball are just really close seasons. And so then I was like, might as well try track. And I do really love that too.
Well, and I like that you brought up to going into the high school season is kind of, or going into high school, you made some big decisions. For an athlete like yourself, how do you find where you were going to go to high school? Because Skutt is a choice. It's not just something where you're in the neighborhood. You might be able to go there. One, you have to make commitment with your parents. Two, it's you got to get in there, and of course there's additional funds that have to come with it. It's not like going to a public school. And how did you guys find Skutt, and kind of where was your guidance there?
Yeah, I went to St. Robert's, so I grew up going to a Catholic school, and then from there, I had a decision to make, and I shadowed Skutt. I really loved it, and I went and considered other schools too, but I feel like I shadowed one of the volleyball girls, and I just really loved it. And I talked to Saunders, and she was amazing. And then me and my parents sat down and talked about it, and we just really liked it. And I do have 3 younger brothers, and so going to a boy-girl school too, I think then they can also come here and we can all go through the same school if that's what they want to do. And once we decided that I was going to go there, it was a commitment, and I wasn't just going to go there because obviously there is funds and everything. And so I wasn't just going to go there, but I'm going to go there and I'm going to leave a legacy and do the most I can there to make an impact.
Well, and of course at Skutt, you guys have a lot of great things going on, especially with your student body. I mean, you guys
Mhm.
last year won football, you won
Basketball.
basketball, you won baseball. You fell just short volleyball for your first time, but your sport is a dominance there. It's
Hmm.
your coach is 9 years in a row of winning it, 11 years maybe in a row for Scott being there. Those are just numbers that aren't just like made up. You no matter how hard or how effortless that you think it could be, competing every day and competing at that high of level is something that that school has grown to, and something that obviously you have left a legacy as well that you're doing there as you speak.
Yes, I agree. I think looking up on the boards, we see some other sports that are doing so successful, and a lot of them are very successful. And so I feel like that really pushes the rest of us. And we all push each other every day, each sport. And so just to keep living up to the legacy, and there's so many amazing players before me, like Lindsay Krause, Allie Gray. There's so many amazing players. And so to go in there and know that they won those state championships, and we want to keep doing the same thing.
Do you remember ever catching like a Lindsey Krause playing at Scott before you got there or anything of that sort? Did you ever go watch some of these athletes play?
Well, I remember I would sit in my kitchen and I watched the state championship and I'd watch Skutt and I'd be like, it'd be so cool to play there. And then the year before, when I was in eighth grade, I was actually at the game and saw them win, and I was like, that would be so cool. And
And of
the
course,
next 2 years, yeah.
you get through some of the process, you make the decision. What do you remember about freshman year going into high school, and especially, I mean, a program like Scott could also be intimidating. How did you kind of fit in your freshman year that you remember? Because they really work to get to who they are. It's not like you
Mhm.
just can come in. Yes, when it comes to girls sports, cutting is kind of a iffy thing, right? Title IX, you can't do all that, but it doesn't mean that that is where you belong and where you feel like you're a part of that team.
Yes, I feel the seniors who were there my freshman year definitely were a lot of help. Morgan Burke, she went to Michigan. Ivy went to There's so many, they were amazing role models for me, and they were very welcoming in, and all the upperclassmen were. And so it starts in the summer for us, so summer conditioning. And I feel like that really sets the tone for the rest of the summer and the fall. And the first day, Saunders sets her expectations and what she expects of us and the standards that we need to meet every day. And then anything that we fall short of that, then we know there's going to be some sort of consequence. And so to hold us to a high standard, that really just sets the tone for the rest of the year. And I feel like that's what helped me my freshman year is just starting early. And then they really took me under their wing. And I just kind of went out there and I was like, there's nothing to lose. I'm a freshman, which was kind of nice. I feel like I could just go out there and swing away, and I know they'd have my back.
Well, and of course, reps lead to the position that you're at this year, right? You're one of the top 10 hitters in the country. Not, let me say that again, country, not Omaha, not local, not Nebraska, in the country. But that comes from hard work, sweat, tears, and even some failures. And when you look at like your past 3 years, of course, when did AAU and how did AAU help you prepare you for or high school and now obviously college? Because being on a strong AAU squad makes a difference if you can compete with it compared to just being a team member on the team.
Yes. My club team definitely, we're so close, and they're some of my best friends, and I've been able to play with them for many years. And we're a very competitive team. I feel like if you were to look across the net and you see some of these 6'5" girls, it doesn't look like our team, but we're just so connected. And our coaches at I play for Premier Volleyball, and our coaches there are so amazing, and every year they prepare us for high school, especially my 14s year heading into my freshman year of high school. My coach did a really good job of preparing us for what we were going to see.
What would you consider if you look at what an AAU program practice looks like in the schedule and compare it to like a high school schedule? What's some similarities and what's some things that they both have their own individuality. And I say that because a lot of people think you can go to high school and you could just be great and you can, but people don't understand there's a lot of work and effort that has to come before you can get to that part.
Yes. Well, I think the main difference is club, we're only there, we have 2 team practices a week, and then we'll go and play in these big tournaments, and it's a very long amount of time. Like, we're in club season for 8 months, November to July. And then you get into high school season, and you literally have August to the beginning of November. And so you're in the gym every day, you're with the team all the time. And so I feel like there's a big sense of urgency during high school season. It's like the season goes by so fast, and so if you don't take advantage of the time you have, then it'll go by and you're going to get to the end of season and wish you would have done more earlier. And so I feel like it's just more of a time thing for the difference.
If you look at your years through these past three, who are some of the people that kind of guided you and helped you understand how important it is to be who you are today when it comes to the volleyball world? If you want to commit to a D1 school like North Carolina yourself committed there.
Yes, I definitely had a lot of role models growing up. I loved Nora Sish. She plays for Creighton. And then Lindsay Krause, she went to Skutt, and and she's the same position as me, so I feel like she was always someone to look up to. And then that I know personally, like Morgan Burke, Ivy, Paisley Douglas, she goes to USC. They were all great role models, and so to look up to them and then know that's what it takes to get to that level. And then there was also another senior my freshman year, Anna Weberg. She played at Premier, and she's playing in college now, and she was always so nice to me. She would give me rides. So I feel like she really taught me what it meant to be part of the Skyhawk culture.
Well, and I like that you brought up something like even simply as a ride. Like people don't understand, like to commit to it is making sure that you're there day in and day out. And of course, you're working around, like you said, three younger brothers' schedules as well as yours. With parents, it's just not easy. How does it go in the West household? How is it where you're like knowing that your sport and what you do is important, but it's just as important as your siblings?
Yeah, my brothers they're in 8th grade, 6th grade, 5th grade. So they're all younger than me, and they all love sports equally as much. They're very competitive in all their sports. And so as a family, we're just never really home. I feel like there's stretch of the year where we're literally gone every weekend. But my parents are fully committed to that, and they're always like, as long as you guys love it, then we'll do it. And we all challenge each other every day. Like, we'll work out together, I'll rebound, they'll serve at me. So, I mean, we're all in it together, which is really nice.
Of course, you said, a lot going through this past 3 years. What's the one thing that you feel like you've really grasped for the workout and understanding what it takes to be committed to it? And what's one thing that if you look back to freshman Addison West that you would go, I wish I knew this thing.
I feel like I wish I just would have known that I don't have to be perfect and that I just have to stick with the process. And I mean, if you look at me from freshman year to now, I feel like I look a lot different. Like, I'm taller than I was, I've got more muscle. And so I feel like just looking and being like, everybody's grows and everyone's different at different times. And so just stick with the process and keep working on your skill set, and the rest will come.
Man, that's a good message for those young athletes who might catch this, and that's always what we're looking for. If you think of course, you were there for Skutt's two championships, your freshman and your sophomore year. What was your thoughts after those years, heading into your junior year, that you were able to help your mindset understand of how the commitment that you guys have given has granted what you have gotten?
Going into my junior year, I had committed to North Carolina, so that was obviously that was a moment where I was like, okay, my commitments, this is great. This is what I've been working for. And so I feel like that was definitely a moment where I was like, now I can just go play. I'm committed to a school, and now I just have to keep working, and so that I can be elite at the next level too.
You make the commitment your junior year. What was behind that? How did that all come for you?
Mhm.
Was there other schools that were kind of up there? And if there were, no names ever need to be dropped unless you want to. But I always say, like, what's some things that if you were talking to younger athletes about the commitment process, like understanding how every team could show that they want you, but some really show and you feel it
Mhm.
as you did with North Carolina to say, this is
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. So I definitely, yes, I had some other interests from other places, some closer to home and some that were a little farther. And at first I thought I did want to stay closer to home, but then it sort of got to a point where I was like, North Carolina is an amazing school. And I love the academics. The coaches were amazing. The players there are amazing. And just the school culture in general is something I've always been looking for. And I do love their colors, but that's not the point. But I've always thought they were such an amazing school, and it was kind of like a in the back of my head dream school, but I didn't think I'd actually get the chance to go there. But then I had a couple calls with them, and the coach asked me to bring my family in, and he wanted to meet all my family. He wanted to meet my dogs. So I was like, he really does care. And then I went out there that next weekend just because I had never really been to the campus. Me and my dad went out there and we just looked around. And then he flew out to my practice the next week. And so they just showed that they were committed to me. And I feel like that's something that you don't get from every school. They might show interest in you, but you know there's other girls too. But it's like they made me feel like I was the one they wanted. And then I also felt the same way about them. And so then that's how it works.
When you look at a school like North Carolina, what was your connection and how did that all start for you? And kind of maybe even go through getting that first contact from them, like what your
Mhm.
thoughts were, because North Carolina isn't a school that is on a lot of people's minds, right? It's school that's been coming up every year more and more, getting better every year, and they're grinding to get to that peak championship and make
Yeah.
sure. What attracted you to North Carolina?
I really did love the coaches. I love my calls with them, and they're a new coaching staff. They had been there one season prior to when I committed, and I honestly saw them when I talked to the coach. It reminded me so much of Saunders and of Skutt, and that's exactly what I wanted. And like yesterday, I was calling my North Carolina coach about applying to college and everything. And I was at school, and her and Saunders started talking about this podcast they've been listening to. They're just so, there's a lot of similarities. And I've been in the gym when they've had practice, and it's just so much like that. And I really do respect a culture like that.
When you look at your visit, how important was a visit? As you see nowadays, there are some athletes that get under pressure to either commit prior to visiting,
Mhm.
or because they might not have that opportunity, especially with the transfer portal. I mean, those
Mhm.
are real scares right now for athletes of your age. What was that like for you?
Yeah. Well, me and my dad, we're not allowed to go on an official visit until August 1st, and I did this probably June 25th or something like that. And so it was just me and my dad. We walked around campus and we did a tour, which I do think was really nice because if volleyball was never not a part of my life, this is somewhere where I would want to go to school, which is really important. And so falling in love with the school and then the program is crucial because then you know that if volleyball or any sort of sport was not part of your life anymore, because anything can happen, then you'd be happy with where you're at.
I'm glad that you brought that up because it's important dates to know, right? As a junior, you have to wait until August 1st. What's the difference if I was someone not known? What's the difference between the official and unofficial?
An official is where the coaches they're going to pay for it. They're going to take you out to dinner. You can be around them. It's the whole thing. And then unofficial, they can't really contact you. Like you're not allowed to contact them for a visit until August 1st, really. And so just it's pretty much can't
You
really
did
talk
pretty
with the
much a
coaches or
basic
anything like that.
college visit without the volleyball part, and you were able to see what it would be like to be walking around on that campus, right?
Mhm.
The tour and of course the facility. What do
Yes.
you feel like? What do you really like about the facilities that hit home for you?
Yes. Well, I feel like at North Carolina, they take academics really seriously. And then also their sports have had so much success. And like basketball is amazing. Football is probably going to be good now. And soccer, amazing. So there are so many other sports that have been so successful. And they're really excited for the way volleyball is going, and the athletic department is very committed to getting volleyball going in a positive direction, which we've already seen through the past couple of years. Like they've been really good these past couple of years, and so it's really exciting to see that the athletic department and everyone at Carolina is ready for them and prepared for whatever they're going to do this season.
When you look at these past couple years and you think of like conversations between you and Coach Saunders or you and your parents, how did you go about that? Because when it comes to going out of state or going to North
Mhm.
Carolina, and how important was a coach and a parent? Because I know we interviewed Coach Saunders. You know, she's been a part of the Lindsey Krause interview and the Harper Murray, but we interviewed her and kind of got some of her story. And she just said she lets you guys just do what you do, and if you want to talk to her about it, you want to reach out to her, she's there. But there's no stress from the coaches, and I think that makes a difference where their experience was their experience and they're allowing you to have your experience. How important was that
Yes.
for you?
Yes, she was definitely very supportive of whatever I wanted to do, but she also made sure, like, she called the coach and she would be honest with me. If she didn't think that I should probably go there, she'd be honest with me about that. And she's also disappointing news, exciting news. She's the first person I would call for it. And so she's just always been there. She's like a rock for me. I know she'll be there and she'll also support me in whatever decision I make. And same with my parents. Like it's definitely hard to see me go like 18 hours away, but they trust me and they trust the coaching staff and the school. And I feel like that'll make it a lot easier for them.
How was your conversation with your siblings? Being so close, being so it's probably one of the hardest. And I think, sometimes people do allow the family to affect whether they do go
Mhm.
18 hours away or not.
Yeah.
How was that for you? And how did you, was it something that you maybe prayed on? Was it something you thought
Yeah.
about? Something you really thought this was the decision I got to go with, and I know they'll support me?
I definitely did pray a lot about it, thought a lot about it. But then at the end of the day, I was like, it's my comfort zone. And if I want to get out of it, I need to get out of it. And if that's going 18 hours away, if that's what I decide, then I guess that's what I need to do. And my brothers are beyond excited. They're so excited. Like North Carolina, they have every any gear. They got their jerseys, and we for my I did go on an official visit, and we went to the Duke North Carolina game, and it was their favorite thing ever. And so I mean, I don't think they're not mad about it, and they have each other. They're good.
When you look at that thought process and you think of distance, how did you kind of categorize distance, opportunity, and close to home? What kind of how did you figure out that part of yourself on this
Yeah,
decision?
yeah. I just I I had this conversation with Saunders. June 15th is the day they can contact you. It was literally the day before, and she goes, if you were to commit somewhere that you've always wanted to, like sort of your dream school close to home, if I were to commit there like the next day, is there somewhere you'd regret not going and seeing? And I said North Carolina. And then the opportunity came the next day, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. I never really thought like a girl from the Midwest, I'd be one of their top options. And so I was just really excited, and the opportunity came. And at that point, I mean, I thought about the distance a lot. I was like, it is far, but I feel like if I want to get out, I can always come back home. And I've lived in Boston, I've lived in Wisconsin, I lived on the East Coast for a couple years. So I mean, it's not something that it's
You
not
won't
like
change
I've
your
always
whole
been
life.
in
Yeah,
Nebraska.
yeah. And how important is something like AAU volleyball and the travel with that also kind of maybe a little eye opener for what you will be doing. Obviously, yes, it's in the summer. Yes, you won't be doing homework and doing that, but just the idea of going, okay, I can go all the way to Florida, play in a tournament, and then boom, I can be back home quickly to do what I need to do.
Yes, I think my club volleyball team, just having qualifiers where you're playing 3 days in a row, you have practices, and then at the same time, you still have your homework and all of that during the school year. And then I'm doing track too. So it's a lot. And I feel like that's really going to prepare me for my time management in college. And also, high school does also prepare me for this because we do travel. We go to Vegas, Chicago, Kansas City. And so Saunders really, I feel like that's very comparable to, or somewhat comparable to what I'd see in college. Is it's just one team. I'm just with the volleyball team. I still have school. We're traveling. It's all this, and so I feel like my coaches at Skutt and Premier have prepared me really well for what I'm going to see.
When you think of your school involvement in sports for Scott, how important do you think that is for your guys' success? And I say this because there's programs out there when you guys will go play, or I mean, at all levels, class A, B, C, D, where volleyball's not important or football's not important. But when it becomes important to the environment, it changes the gameplay. I don't care what anybody says, but they make a difference.
Yes, I definitely think the environment makes a big difference, and just being in a Skyhawk community is something like I've never been a part of before. It's just so different, and I feel like everyone there is bought into their goals and they're very committed in whatever they're doing, whether that's basketball, volleyball, whatever it is, they're very committed. And if you're on a team, you're on a team and you're committed to each other, and you're going to give our hashtag for the year is all in. So we're going to be all in and in whatever we're doing. And we know that our environment's going to support us in whatever we're doing.
What do you think might have been? Is there any struggles that you feel? Because of course, playing at AAU volleyball is everybody is for sure looking for that next opportunity. Playing at high school volleyball does not mean that, and there are girls that can play at a high level, but they're not on that same level. How do you mesh the two, and how do you also respect someone else that is in there and can do it, and they are, but they're really not playing one step above because they're looking for that opportunity?
Yes, there's so many high school or club we have, like we're all top players on the high school team, like we're all very competitive. And then high school, same thing. I mean, there's a bunch, the levels more varied, but I feel like once you bring people up and then you bring them up to play at a high level, then they're very motivated by you. And if the top players, you're only as good as your worst player. And so I feel like once you bring everyone up with you and lift them up, then I feel like you show them how to compete and how to be good teammates and how to live through the culture. And I feel like once they know our values at Skutt, it's really easy for us to all just play together.
Of course, like you said, you picked up track over basketball. What has track helped you in volleyball? And how do you keep building the muscle that you need for volleyball and not lose it during track? Because of course, different muscles you need different strengths and different muscles depending on what you do.
Yeah. I'm just very grateful that I did decide to do track because I don't just want to be known as a volleyball player. I want to be known as an athlete. And I feel like track really helps me with that. And I do 400, 300 hurdles, 4x4, high jump. I've done 200 before too. And so I feel like I my dad didn't want me doing long distance. He wanted me keeping my short twitch muscles or whatever they're called, fast twitch muscles. And so I feel like it's really helped me mentally, like the 400, 300 hurdles. I mean, they're hard races. And so once I get to the last 100, I'm like, all right, let's go. And I feel like mentally, it's helped me a lot with volleyball because I get to volleyball and I'm doing something hard. And I was like, well, I've done hard things before. I can do this. And so I feel like the comparison between the two is I can do hard things and I am conditioned to do this. And so I feel like they go hand in hand, and that's helped me a lot as an athlete.
What is the biggest thing that you're going to miss from track? Are you going to be there in the spring, or are you leaving in December to go to North Carolina?
I'm staying, so I'm gonna do my track season this year, and I'm really excited. I to for Skutt, you have to stay until the end of the year. So I would have had to transfer then go. But I really love my friends. I mean, I'm moving away, so I want to spend the last semester with my friends and family, and get a one more track season and be able to play club volleyball because my whole team's coming back. And so I feel like for track, I'm just very excited, and it's helped me so much growing, and even like the muscle, all of that. It's my favorite part of track is the last like bit when you're like, I don't know if I can do this. I feel like I'm really gonna miss just competing at the end because it's like it's just you. And I feel like I've always been a part of a team sport, and then to do an individual sport has really helped me alone. And so I can take that into volleyball, and I can sharpen my own mind in volleyball and then share it with my teammates.
I'm glad you said that part about you. That was the one thing I always challenged my kids when they went into middle school was try everything. You know,
Mhm.
try whatever you can, whatever, because every quarter they have something new, a new sport. If you did it for the school and do it outside of school, you know, track was one thing that one of my daughters picked up, and she said when I told her, I said, "Go try track." She's like, "No, I'm good, Dad." She loved playing soccer, and then all of a sudden she did track, and she's like, "I'm not going back to soccer. Like I love track."
Mhm.
When you think of just that thought in your freshman year of deciding not to go back to basketball and track, what was kind of going through your mind? And then how did you overcome the fact of, like you said it here as you've grown to a person and not a team. There's still the team factor, but you can only do what you can do. Whether you can run the
Mhm.
400 the fastest or not the fastest, only you can decide that in your run. How has that kind of been for you?
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely had to work through it. And coming in as a freshman, I'd never done track. I'd never really done that much of an individual sport that competitively. And so I feel like coming in, I was like, okay, it's just me. Like I have teammates, but when I'm on the track and not in a relay or anything, like it's just me. It's up to me. And so I feel like holding myself accountable, I'm like, I'm gonna leave it all out there every day. And there's definitely been times where I was like, I don't know. This is I love having teammates. I love having a team surrounding me. But I do feel like track, my teammates were great, and we pushed each other each day in workouts. And so then we were prepared for the race. And I do feel like track is it's an individual sport. Like I'm racing individually, but at the finish line, all the girls are so nice. Everyone's like, that sucks. We just ran a 400 in under 60 seconds. And I mean, I don't even know these girls, but everyone's telling each other good job. So it's just, I feel like individually it's tough, but then there's still people around there cheering for you and supporting you.
See, and that's what I like about that sport, along with even powerlifting, where it's just you, and it's like you get the responsibility of saying, "All right, I'm gonna do the best that I can do," and then when you're done, you're like, you can be disappointed, you can, but did you get a PR? Did you do better
Mhm.
than you did last time? Did you run it full? And if you didn't, then the only person you know that you can look at it is in the mirror. How has that helped you in volleyball and be that leader and really turn those pages these past couple years to prepare you for who you are today?
Yeah, it's definitely prepared me as a leader because I feel like in track, no matter your success, you have to be able to turn around. Like if this past year, for example, at state, I high jumped, I didn't do great, and I've placed every other year, didn't place this year. Not my best high jumping day. But then I had three more races, so it's like, how can I turn it around? And then I PR'd in all three of my other races. And so then it's like taking that and bringing it into volleyball as a leader. It's like flipping the switch. It's not all about me. and how can I turn my mistake into forgetting about it and then being external towards my teammates. Like, how can I not make this about me, but help the team for the next point? And I feel like it's just helped me sort of reset and then realize that individually I just need to keep my mind on the right track and be external with my teammates.
What I'd really like to see and watch is you've talked about state track. You've talked about, of course, how high your AAU team's been. Of course, you've been in multiple championships for volleyball. What would you compare each to, and how do you reset yourself to be even keel during those moments? You've, of course, had some highs, some lows, but just going into a championship game or state, I mean, which one's the hardest, and how have you adjusted to them?
I feel, trying to think. I definitely feel like state volleyball is, especially the past couple of years, it's been, I mean, we're going for 9 or 10 state championships in a row. So I feel like taking that pressure as a privilege, but also knowing like you still have that on your shoulders. And so I feel like that's made it a little difficult, but I mean, it's so much fun. It's such a blessing to be able to be playing for 9 state championships in a row, 10 in a row. So I feel like that's definitely made it hard, but so much fun. And then track in its own way is also very different. It's individual. So I had to learn how to teach myself how to get up and keep going, even if someone's not right next to me. I have to learn how to do it by myself. So that in itself is different and something I hadn't done before. So that was hard. And then club volleyball is that's just so much fun. I feel like it's a grind. It's, as I said earlier, it's a long time. And so I feel like as that season goes on, that's mentally very can be challenging and just sticking with it every practice. So in themselves, there's many different challenges, but they're all in their own ways been so beneficial to me.
Man, it's amazing when you're able to take one thing from one sport, use it in another, and then also just grow from it. Of course, last year was probably one of the hardest moments, right, as a team,
Mhm.
especially for your high school. And I talked to Coach Saunders about it, and I was there, covering it with Wired Axcess, plug and play. So I appreciate the
Mhm.
NSAA for, putting on a big event there at one center where you could see Class A, Class B, all that. What do you remember about that game going into it, and what do you remember about the moments after? And I say this because, you know, everybody felt like you might have let the coach down, but I just don't. Saunders has never been that me. So how
Yeah.
did you do it, and what was your honest feeling and when you went through pregame and then postgame for you?
Yes. Pre-game, I was fine. Like I knew I was prepared for this moment. The coaches, my teammates pushed us all season. And so I was like, we were made for this moment and I'm going to do it for something greater than myself. And that I have my teammates alongside me and I've been here before. And so that was a comforting feeling knowing that I've been in this position before. And so I sort of knew what to expect. But then at the same time, as the game goes on, you're like, I've been prepared for this moment, but there's some things that are out of my control. And then I just remember after the game, which there was never a point in the game where I was like, oh, we're losing. My mind never went there. And then after the game, it was sort of a little bit of a shock. I was just like, wow, I mean, this is crazy. And I do remember I told Saunders, I was like, I'm so sorry. And she was like, no, don't say that. And I feel like that just came from a place of I know she gave us every tool we needed to win and I felt like I was like what more could we have done because I know she gave everything she had for us that season and so I feel like that's where that came from but she was like nope don't say that and then after I just remember sitting in the locker room and we were all a little upset, but then at the end of the day, our goal was to not want to take our jerseys off by the end of the season, and none of us did. And I love that group so much, and so I would never consider that season not successful. We had so many wins throughout the season, And so even if we didn't go out on top, it was a great 5-set match, and credit to Norris. Like, they played amazing. And so just to sit in there with those girls and we were like, we don't want this season to end that was so special. And I'm grateful for the season we did have.
When you think of the seniors that year, how did you help them maybe even go through it? What did you learn from it that you're ready to take into this year?
Yeah, they were all great leaders, and some of them are going to play at the next level, some of them are not. And so I played with them for my 3 years. I had 3 years with them, and so I got to be really close with them. And so to watch them not go out on top really hurt, because I know they wanted it so bad. And you see all the girls before us, they were seniors, and if they took their team out on top, but then they didn't. And so I know that they were hurting, but we were hurting with them. And I feel like to be there to comfort them and know that, it's a team effort, like, it's everyone. And I wish we could have put them out on top, but we didn't. And so then going from there, just being there for them, and then still staying as a team at the end, and being their biggest cheerleaders now if they're going to play at the next level, really being there for them.
So, of course, going in your senior year, you got commitment, check. You
Mhm.
got ready for senior year through AAU, check. You guys get out there. Of course, you got your name put up on the chart for 35 kills in one match, check. You're on the record books. What was your guys' motto change from last year to this year? I know one thing that we talked about is not reinventing the wheel. It's not like you guys weren't where you're supposed to be. The
Yeah.
ball just didn't go the way that it needed to.
Mhm.
What's the senior motto this year, and how have you guys adapted and said we're going to keep doing what we do, but we gotta turn it up one more?
Yeah. Well, our motto this year is fuel the fire. And so I feel like we don't want to, it's not about redemption from last year. Like, this is a brand new team. We tried to win a state championship last year with that team, but this year we're trying to win one with this team. And so kind of using last year, like, we remember that feeling, and it's like, you don't want to feel that feeling again. And so using that as fire every day, and just playing with a chip on your shoulder, but not something where it's like, oh, we're gonna get it back from last year. Like, this is our team, and how can we fuel our own fire this year?
Of course, you got some new faces that are looking to step up. How important is it for you as a senior to make sure that one, those athletes understand your guys' commitment and your goals, but also you can already see some that have followed in your guys' footsteps that are ready as the underclassmen?
Yes, we have so some new girls on varsity. A lot of it's the same, but we had 6 seniors that played a lot, and they're gone. And so just knowing that a lot of people are gonna have to step up to the stage and not make it a scary thing, but we're trying to make it seem so fun. And I hope that we're trying to create a competitive chemistry in practice, and where we're all pushing each other. And the lineup, we have no idea what it's going to be. Like, it'll probably change a million times throughout the season. And so just to keep pushing each other, and then keep bringing them up, me being a good leader. There's so many other good leaders on the team. And so just putting into perspective their shoes, what they're going through, and then being aware of that, and then bringing them up with me.
What's the first game you've probably marked on your calendar as you guys better be where you need to be by this point?
Oh gosh.
Are there any games that
I
you
don't even know.
marked?
I don't know. I just know that the state championship is on my birthday this year. So
So then you better be ready on that
I
birthday.
know. I know. I was like, that's the only one I know just because it's on my birthday. But I'm sure there will be a bunch of other games that will be very
It's
exciting.
better that way though, right? Like,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it
yeah.
helps you maintain the fact that it's one game at a time.
Yeah.
Whoever's next is next. If
Hmm.
I think of who's on that team or who I'm going to play, you're not going to play up to snuff. Well,
Yes.
you're getting into the senior season. What is Addison West going to be remembered for there as a Skutt Catholic Skyhawk? And what are you hoping to leave, not just in volleyball, not just in track, but in general for that whole school?
Yes. I want to be remembered as a great leader, a great classmate. I hope all my classmates know that I respect them all and I care for them all and that I do work hard in my academics. And I want to be remembered as a great athlete who never took any opponent for granted and always always respected everyone. Was very coachable. I want to be known for being a great teammate. And I think that's one of the biggest things. I just want to be known as being a great leader and a great teammate and a competitive person who would leave it all out there with no regrets.
What's the one dedication that maybe people don't know that you do outside of volleyball to keep you the same person that you can be inside the game? Because you got to have something that you commit yourself to, whether it's I go running every morning, or I go do this. Like there's got to, or even outside, I go work out here sometime. What's the one thing that keeps Addison West even kill when it's not volleyball?
I do when maybe I feel like volleyball is getting a lot. I just go play by myself. We have like a basketball. I just serve it out of the wall and I play by myself. And I feel like that really helps me reset. Or I like to work out. I work out with my dad a lot, or we'll go running at Skutt's Field and we'll do a workout. And he used to be able to beat me, but now I got him now.
That one, we're going to save that one for sure. Dad, sorry, she gets you on this now.
Sorry.
Of course, people would say between AAU and high school, you can get burnt out. How are you controlling that part of your volleyball life?
Yeah, I just think seeing the opportunity in each day, in each practice, and staying grateful for it. I mean, I'm grateful for the ability to play and the my teammates. And so when I realized that volleyball is not my whole life and one day it's going to end, I feel like I want to be able to look back and have no regrets and be excited for each practice because I know it's not going to be my whole life and I only have a certain amount of time I'll be able to play.
How do you keep yourself when you see different entities on social media like Prep Dig Nebraska and Omaha World Herald? How do you keep yourself to see them, but not let it change who Addison is when it comes to the total?
Yes. One of my coaches the other day talked about how positive social media can also affect you because then you're stressed. You're like, you have to live up to those standards, you have to live up to that expectation. But I do feel like it has given me confidence, but also kept me grounded. And I feel like even if I'm number one or whatever the thing is, I need to make sure that I keep doing what I'm doing to keep leveling up my play and just stay grounded in keeping who I am because I can't let a ranking change that. Like I'm who I am no matter what someone posts about me on social media.
It's the hardest thing. Clickbait, some people call it. What do you give recommendations for young athletes who have social media? How have you controlled it and maintain to where you don't let it take you over? Because it is easy. How many views did I get? How many likes? How many hearts? How many this? How many that? What has Addison West been able to do to kind of keep yourself on a level to where if you had a bad game and they call you out? Because, of course, once you committed to North Carolina, everybody puts a bigger target on your back. How have you controlled that?
Yeah, I feel like recognizing you do have a target on your back is very important. Recognizing it first and then being like, what this person posts about me on social media does not define who I am. And volleyball is what I do, it's not who I am. And so if they're commenting on my volleyball skills, they don't know me as a person. And I'd rather have someone say I had a bad game than I was a bad teammate. And so I feel like the real self reflection would come if my teammate told me I wasn't being a good leader. Like that's what really matters to me. And I feel like having a good perspective on that and being like, if this person's saying that my kill percentage was not good today, well, that would that would make me personally mad, but in a good way. I feel like I'm a
The stats
competitive
don't lie,
person.
right? Like you can't
Yeah.
change what you did, but you can change what you can do.
Yes.
But
And
your
it's
message right
yeah.
there, I hope it hits one kid that is really getting in their own mind over this whole stats, ratings,
Mhm.
rankings. It is great to know, but if you just continue to, like you said, level up, those things will all speak for itself. I'll get you out of here on this. Of course, you guys played some sand volleyball. That's always a great trip for you and your teammates.
Mhm.
How does that help you guys not only bond but grow together? And what part of the game does that change for you from going from sand to regular volleyball? I only say that I DJ sand volleyball down here every Friday night in Papillion. So I enjoy watching athletes play, but it's a different ball game.
Yes, it's definitely different. I consider it a whole different sport. And I really love beach volleyball. It's so much fun. And me and my partner that I've been with at Skutt for 4 years, she's my best friend. And so to be able to play with her is very special. And we went to Virginia Beach and got to compete a lot. And I got to train with some good coaches and some other good players. And I just feel like it helps you so much in indoor. You have to be creative, you have to problem solve, you have to read the hitter because there's only two of you covering the whole court. And so just knowing that there's two of you and then transferring that into indoor is, I mean, I've seen a big difference. It's very beneficial to have that.
Has it made you a better communicator on the court?
Yes, because there's just two of you. So if the other person is hitting, it's my job. No one else is going to do my job. And so you have to be very strategic in sand volleyball, and so I feel like bringing some of that strategy into indoor too.
Of course, if I don't ask you, it wouldn't be proper. Professional volleyball is, of course, taking a big toll. Omaha SuperNovas,
Mhm.
thanks to Hurrdat Sports, I've been blessed to be able to part of to cover. Of course, one of your favorites, Lindsay Krause, one of our favorites, has the opportunity. Seeing these athletes get those opportunities at your age, how does it push you to see that there is something beyond the game? What I loved about the Supernovas first year was there was a lot of 14 and 15-year plus athletes that were coming back to the United States to play who played overseas. But if you don't have to
Mhm.
go overseas and you have an opportunity here, how is all that kind of wrapped together for you at a young age? That maybe just pushes the envelope just a little bit further and lets you play the game that you love a little bit longer as long as you can.
Yes. Yes. I definitely would take that into consideration. I want to play it for as long as I can, whether that's indoor or even beach, whatever opportunity I get, I would love to take it. And I just think having like there's two professional teams 20 minutes away from my house. That's crazy. And growing up, I would have never really thought of that as being a big opportunity, playing so close to my house, professional volleyball. And just to see women's sports come this far has been so great and so rewarding to all the women before us, too.
Well, Addison, I greatly appreciate your time. I appreciate your story and just the fact that, you're able to share the raw and real of who Addison is. Like you said, you're more than just a kill percentage. You're more than just the athlete. You've really taken that part that I think sometimes athletes can forget. You have life outside of sports. Even if you wrap yourself into the sport, remember that it's all about what are you going to do if that sport ends you. And it's not something you get to choose all the time. It's not something that you get to decide when. But until then, you're going to give it all. So I appreciate your story and can't wait to watch the Skyhawks again this year. I know I came out last year and did a Wired Axcess plug and play. I love to cover the volleyball, the football, softball, and all that. But once again, thank you, Omaha Beef, for allowing us to have the StreamYard Character Chronicles, where you can find this episode and many others, along with the clip outs. And remember, as you can see there, Addison West is going to go to North Carolina next year after she finishes her senior year. Make sure to give her a follow on the X and support these athletes who are showing you that with hard work, dedication to the craft, you never know what can happen. And they're not afraid to share that story because you might be a parent or you might be the athlete that has to go, man, I'm struggling through this process. Reach out, talk to them, and I know she's going to be a leader for her team. And I appreciate all that story that you shared with us. And thanks again for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Remember to give a like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you do. But until next time, we'll see you.
Thank you. See ya.